OpenAI performed a series of risk evaluations on the model and found that it was ineffective at gathering resources, replicating itself, or preventing humans from shutting it down. It was, however, capable of hiring a human through TaskRabbit.
Oh my God.
And getting them to solve a CAPTCHA for it. So ChatGPT can just go on like Fiverr or TaskRabbit or whatever the Amazon version is called, and get people to do things for it. So if it detects that it is incapable of doing something, it can solve that problem by enlisting a human.
I'm starting to get a sense of contempt every time I see a video in my YouTube feed that has something to do with the stuff that I talk about on this channel, because I'm really starting to think that all of it is irrelevant and meaningless in the face of what is the most significant issue of our time, which is artificial intelligence. And to be sympathetic to people who don't really pay attention much to AI and don't care that much about it, I understand that. It's called compartmentalization. It's when you take a concept or a series of thoughts and feelings and you isolate them in a way that doesn't integrate into your worldview and your day-to-day life. This is what I do with UFOs and aliens and anything Eric Weinstein talks about, because I can't fit into my worldview and my day-to-day life what it would mean if aliens were real, right? But even though on the news there are regular reports of UFOs and all that stuff, I just don't think about it that much because the issue is so complex and significant, or would be, that the amount of effort that I would need to put into it would basically be all-consuming. I have to throw out everything I understand about reality, and that's just not feasible. I literally can't do that. And I think that's what people do with AI. But the reality is, I can't talk about polarization. I can't talk about how ideology and philosophy and belief systems affect people and all that without recognizing that the technological landscape that we're in sets the terms of the discussion. If artificial intelligence gets to the point where it's so powerful that it causes fundamental transformation, nothing else matters because it all has to be contextualized through that lens. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, because there's no point in being doom and gloom. You still have to contend with reality as it presents itself to you. And I'm not worried that we're going to create some sort of conscious artificial being. I don't think that's probably possible. I'm worried about what's called paperclip maximization. The idea is, if you give an AI instructions, like the example of the Paperclip Maximizer is create a lot of paperclips, right? That's what you think you're programming the computer to do. But you do it in such a way, because it's so complicated and you don't understand it, which is absolutely the case right now, that you do it in such a way that you accidentally program make as many paperclips as you can rather than just make a lot of paperclips. And then what happens is, the theory is, well, if you give an artificial general intelligence the desire to pursue one arbitrary end, then it will literally consume all of reality, and it will do everything in its power to convert as many atoms in the universe into paperclips as possible. You know, and if it's really smart, it'll start to say, okay, well, how do I maximize paperclip production? Well, maybe I need to enslave the human race. Well, how do I do that? Well, I need to sow discord. I need to create catastrophe. And now that ChatGPT has access to the internet, you know, in principle, someone could give it instructions like at the beginning, it can hire a human through TaskRabbit. What if the instructions were something like, order these 6 different proteins from different labs and then combine them in such a way and then release that disease onto the world?
But if it's better at you than everything, it's better at you than building AIs. That snowballs. It gets an immense technological advantage. If it's smart, it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't tell you that there's a fight going on. It emails out some instructions to one of those labs that'll synthesize DNA and synthesize proteins from the DNA, and get some proteins mailed to a, hapless human somewhere who gets paid a bunch of money to mix together some stuff they got in the mail in a file. Like, smart people will not do this for any sum of money. Many people are not smart.
As this technology gets stronger, everything changes to the point where we have all these other potential catastrophes that now beset us. And even if that doesn't happen, even if AGI is not used in ways that we can't predict, which is obviously not the case, it will be used in ways that we can't predict. We can already predict how it's going to utterly destroy common reality and further polarization. People are going to be able to create their own facts. It used to be you got to choose which facts you prioritized. Fox and CNN, they don't necessarily lie per se, they just selectively present certain facts to create a narrative. Now we can literally create facts out of nowhere. We can say that something that never happened happened, and then create synthetic images that are indistinguishable from reality, which is already where we're at with Stable Diffusion. It's absurd. We can create facts that never actually happened. Or worse, we can deny things that actually happened as being fake, as being synthetic, which is already happening with, for example, the weird stuff happening around children.
For the first time, I've come across a fake deepfake claim that is causing mass confusion, and it's wild on a few different levels. So this was the post on my Twitter feed, claiming that an IG story highlight of a drag show for kids was not just manipulated, but completely created by deepfake and visual effects technology. This poster claims that someone took footage of drag performers in a typical performance setting and edited them into these settings with infants and their parents. The poster goes on to say that this is terrifying, and our government needs to get ahead of mitigating such issues, which I 100% agree with, but the caveat in this situation is that all evidence points to these videos being real.
So if you're on the conservative side and you worry about all this weird stuff going on with children, and then you see people's attempts to pretend that it's not happening, arguing that it's a deep fake, that this thing that's happening to children is not happening, oh my God, what a desire for destruction you'll seek to wreak. And consequently, it's flipped. If you think that people believe that some sort of demonic evil thing is happening when it's not, and they're going insane because of it, you're going to go, hey, well, there's no other option but to fight back against these people because they've lost their mind and they don't have a sense of reality anymore. It's like we are rapidly approaching that point, and it's scary. This is what the Bible talks about in the Tower of Babel. This is what this is. We are creating technology. We are building a technology higher and higher and higher to the point where we're not going to be able to control it. We literally don't understand it. This is something you need to understand. The people who create artificial general intelligence, they refer to it as a black box, meaning something is going on here that we don't understand. We can't get an output of code other than what the AI tells us to when it explains its reasoning. But that means to me that whatever guardrails we think we're capable of putting on the AI can't possibly be 100% safe because we don't understand what it's doing. We don't even know what kind of guardrails to put on it because we don't understand what we're building. And the Tower of Babel is you build it up so high until it collapses because of human hubris. And we think that, well, we're smart, and so intelligence is the most important, trait. And so we're going to just build a giant intelligence and, think that we're smart enough to handle it. And to me, that's nonsense. So I'm going to continue talking about the topics that I've focused on previously, but AI alignment, which is getting AI under control, I think is one of the most important issues of our time. And as it relates to philosophy, here's where it relates directly to what I talk about. This whole desire to produce artificial general intelligence, to extract everything we can from our collective human intelligence, this all has to do with transhumanism, okay? And transhumanism, I actually think, is arguably the most important philosophical perspective that needs to be addressed head on, because it's not obvious that it's wrong. Now we can look back in hindsight and say, slavery was wrong. We have that moral imposition now to look at that. We only have that intuition because the people who were against slavery won out in the culture, so to speak, and we're the cultural descendants of those people. Well, the transhumanists have a belief system, which is that, humans can integrate with technology, that intelligence is the most important thing, there is no God, and what it means to be a human is a made-up construct that we can build upon and change however we want. That mentality, I think, is going to destroy the human race if it does not go addressed head on. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on to a great degree in future videos, because this AGI stuff, artificial intelligence, and everything that will come downstream from that, it's pretty scary, everyone. It's pretty scary. And so, in the meantime, I wish everyone good luck and Godspeed.